Hi, my name is Bill Starr. I'm a representative of Mass Hire, and you are here today to learn about the resume and cover letter. I have a presentation I'm going to share with you, and hopefully you get something out of it. So, to start, the resume and cover letter presentation I'm going to go through is basically just to learn some tips and best practices for writing effective resumes and cover letters. Some of the topics we're going to go over today, and as far as the resume goes, we're going to discuss the purpose, sections, tailor and target, layouts, formats, and as far as the cover letter goes, we're going to go over purpose, sections, tailor and target, layouts, and formats as well. Purpose of the resume, you really want to market yourself, get ready to apply for jobs, and of course get an interview based on that resume. So the key is when you're talking about marketing yourself is really to put your best foot forward on a piece of paper and really, like I said, make yourself stand out as opposed to other job seekers. So we're going to talk about some ways to do that today. As far as resume sections go, every resume should have a heading, goal, skills, experience, education, and any other relevant information based on the job that you're applying for. When we look at resume headings, you're going to make sure you have your full name, your address, your phone number, your email, and your LinkedIn profile link. This is a quick example of the heading on a resume. So feel free to, review this. And again, this is just, a random person that has a resume that, like I said, we think looks very good. So like I said, feel free to, copy this format and use it on your own resumes. In terms of the goals of a resume, the basic purpose of it, you want to make sure you grab the reader's attention and demonstrate how you are a match for that particular position. Resumes can be in the form of an objective, profile, or summary statement when you get it started. Goal of the resume and the objective is good for applying to large companies with many different types of positions. You can also post it on job search sites such as JobQuest, Indeed, and Monster, as well as many others that are out there. As far as the resume profile and summary, for the summary, basically you just want to have a brief account giving the main points or a profile, which can be a history or a description, and those can include your experience, technical skills, unique features or traits, areas of expertise, and any credentials that you have accrued in prior experience. This is another example of someone's resume with their goal and objective listed. This is also another example of an experience on a resume, just to list a couple different positions that a person had and some summaries of what they did, as well as some bullet points of some of the different duties they had in that role. And then in terms of education, when you're putting that on the resume, you do want to include the formal education as well as any certifications, licenses, professional development, or a continuing education that you have that might be relevant to the job you're applying for as well. And if you have had any company training that's relevant to the job goal, certainly want to list that as well. In terms of education, if you're coming from a high school background, you do want to make sure you list the name of the school, include the city and state where that school is located. You don't necessarily have to list the high school information if you have a college degree, and it's also not necessary to include the date that you graduated. Also, if you do have a specific type of diploma or a course of study that's relevant to the job that you're applying for, you do want to list that information as well. If you do have a college degree, again, you want to include any relevant degrees that you have acquired. Make sure you do spell out that degree, such as Bachelor of Arts as an example. You do want to list the school where you received your degree. Again, include the state where the school is located. And again, it is not necessary to include the date that you graduated. Other things that you can put on a resume that would be relevant If you're a member of any particular organization or affiliated with any organization, if you've done any type of volunteer work or anything related to that, certainly very good to put on the resume. Also, any other type of information you can include that's relevant to your job goal. You can list the name of the institution or organization you received any of those certifications or information from. Again, you do want to include the city and state. You do not want to list any type of certifications or licenses that have expired. And you also do not need to list references or say available upon request. This is another example of somebody listing their educational background. And when you're doing the resume in terms of tailoring and targeting it, for different types of positions, the purpose of that is you want to show how you are a match with your required skills and qualifications for the position you are applying for. So you do want to make sure you do your research and put relevant information for that specific job in the resume. Some of the keywords that you can use, or keywords in general, you do want to make sure that you are using words, phrases, and terminology that show the potential employer you are a match for the position you're applying for. And action verbs are also very important to use, just in terms of describing what action you took or what duties you performed in any relevant experience or positions you've had. You do want to make sure you do kind of translate it on the resume as well. As far as accomplishments, you do want to go ahead and describe how well you performed your job and or how you contributed to your previous employer's bottom line. Or if you've received any type of particular recognition and or awards for your performance, certainly want to highlight that as well. Accomplishment statement samples. This is, again, just an example of somebody that was in the food and beverage industry. So we were talking about they delivered food and drinks to patrons. The way that they put that statement in there is delivered all meals with 100% accuracy within service times for 3 consecutive years. So again, a very concise but action-oriented statement saying exactly what they did and how well they accomplished that goal. These are some resume and design tips. You do want to make sure you use adequate white space on the document that you're creating. If it's possible, stick to one page. Make sure the margins are uniform. You do want to be as consistent with your line spacing. Use vertical alignments for the dates. Use left alignment for the text. Right align all the dates. And make sure you use an easy to read font type. Everybody is looking at many resumes when they're have applicants coming in for positions. So you do want to make it as easy as possible for them to make sure they get through the information that you are putting on there. Also, make sure you use black for the font color and use an easy to read font size as well. So now there are a few different types of resume document layouts. You can do what's called a chronological resume, a functional resume, or a combination of both. Again, it is dependent upon what type of experience you have, but there are examples that you can check out for each type of resume at various places online. In terms of a resume that's chronological in nature, this is the most widely used and familiar format. It is the preferred format for many employers. Education and experience are listed in chronological order, as it says, and your recent experience has the strongest emphasis. And obviously, it is directly related to the job you are seeking. A functional resume is good for hiding employment gaps, or if you do have a limited or somewhat all over the place type of work history. It does highlight relevant qualifications and stresses the functional areas of your experience that are relevant for the current job target. So you can make sure that you're basically highlighting the pieces of your experience that are directly relevant to that job. It also just combines your skills that you've developed over the experience that you've gained in a variety of different types of jobs. A functional resume works best, if you are new to the workforce, which would be really very, very relevant to most people checking out this video, or if you have been out of work for a little while and you're trying to get back into it, functional resumes are very good for that as well. And if you're doing a combination resume, so again, it's combining kind of the best of both the chronological and the functional resume. It does allow you to have some flexibility in the information that you do put on that resume. And it highlights presenting skills and accomplishments, but also includes positions and employers chronologically. It also eliminates repetition of skills. So again, it's a very nice, concise way of doing it as well. And a resume, if that's a combination style, it does work best when you are going from one type of career to a different one. It also eliminates the redundancy when you have done the same job throughout the entire work history that you do have. It allows flexibility and information on your resume, and it also presents the skills and accomplishments, but also includes positions, employers, and dates in chronological order. So again, it's kind of the best of both worlds, and it's very good to use if you do have a kind of variety of different experiences. When you do have your resume ready to go, you do want to make sure that you are, saving it in acceptable formats. Word is, probably the most popular and easy to use. PDF, TXT are obviously very popular as well. Again, Word allows you to have more ability to edit things. Some employers do like to have PDF documents, and TXT is good for uploading resumes to various job application websites as well. And when your resume is ready, you do want to make sure you do the proofreading and make sure you do not have any spelling mistakes. Don't use words with which you aren't familiar. Perform a spell check on your finished resume. Do carefully read every word in your resume even after you do the spell check. Spell check doesn't catch everything. And it's always a great idea to have other people proofread your resume for you, just in case they might be able to catch something that you yourself did not see. Also, punctuation mistakes, very common for us to make grammatical errors. So do check for periods at the end of all full sentences. Make sure you are being consistent in your use of punctuation. Always do put periods and commas within quotation marks. Again, as an example, won awards, including the John H. Malcolm Memorial Service Award, and avoid using exclamation points. Grammatical mistakes, as I just mentioned, you do want to make sure that you watch your tenses. Current duties you currently perform should be in present tense. Again, as example, write reports, but ones you may have performed at past jobs should be in the past tense, wrote reports. Make sure you do capitalize all proper nouns. Try to stay away from using pronouns. And when you are expressing numbers, you do want to make sure that you write out all numbers between 1 and 9. But use numerals for all numbers 10 and above. If you do begin a sentence with a numeral, do make sure to spell out that numeral. Again, example, 11 service rewards, 1 well employed, and make sure your date formats are consistent. So, if you do 11/2015 or November 2015, make sure you do stay consistent and make sure all your relevant dates are in that same format. These are a list of some useful links to assist you in, resume creation. All of these links, like I said, offer similar services and information, but again, they are all very useful to check out. So I highly recommend them. So that concludes the resume portion of the presentation. Now we're going to jump into the cover letter. And same thing, we're going to go over the purpose, the sections, tailor and target, layout and format of the cover letter as well. Purpose of the cover letter. Basically, this is an introduction to employers of yourself. It shows your character and your work ethic, and you want it to convince the reader of your interest and abilities. Again, you really want to make sure you're putting it together to make you stand out as a great potential employee for that specific company and job. Some of the tailor and target, information to put on there and to be aware of is, this is not a repeat of the resume. So you do want to make sure that you are highlighting, different pieces of information in a different way. Again, you do want to use different types of keywords to show that you have the qualifications and characteristics that make you a good fit. This is also a good place to incorporate some of your soft skills. And you also want to use the same type of accomplishment statements that are not already listed in the resume that directly relate to the job. There are different types of cover letter layouts. These are the most common: paragraph, bulleted, and T-bar. Again, there are examples that you can look up for all of these as well. And the same idea when you are saving your cover letter, make sure that you do save it in acceptable formats. Again, either Word, PDF, TXT, or something that's relevant, to how the job wants you to apply for it. And the cover letters, the same idea. It's always important to proofread. Make sure that your name and contact information is correct. Did you get married, divorced, move to a new home, change your phone number? If you get to enter your information, those are all things that a lot of people often forget about. You do want to make sure that you have the addressee's name for whoever it is you are sending that to. Make sure it's spelled correctly. Example, Christine might actually be spelled Christine, so do make sure you do your due diligence and find out the proper contact person you are going to be sending that information to, as well as the company name you're addressing it to. You do want to make sure that, again, if you're applying to multiple jobs, you're not copying your previous cover letter and forgetting to change the name of the company. That's something I've done in the past, and not the best look. Same thing as far as proofreading goes. Make sure that there's no spelling or typographical errors. Again, as we talked about in the resume, don't rely solely on spell check. Do your own due diligence, read through it. Also share it with friends or colleagues to give it a once over as well. And another thing to be aware of is again, avoid using different types of bad grammar, and that can include avoid using too much jargon, slang, personal or outdated wording. You do want to make sure you use professional business etiquette. Again, this is not a text. You're not tweeting, so do not use the hyphenated or words, like I said, the acronyms for anything. Do not ever include emoticons, and be sure to use appropriate sentence structure, correct paragraphing, and standard cover letter spacing. These are some other useful links related to information about cover letters. Same idea. They all have similar types of information, but they're all, again, highly useful and highly recommended to give you different examples of cover letters and how to create them. So that concludes the purpose, sections, tailoring, targeting, layouts, and formats of the cover letter. And that is all the information that we have to go over for this particular presentation. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to check out MassHire online. Give us a call at our website, and you can also, stop by the office here at 340 Main Street anytime. We'll be happy to help you. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope you got something out of it. Have a great rest of your day.